Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for being with me for my third video, my third live stream. This one is we're moving away from Little Sister for a little while in order to give you some information on my autobiography called Just Between Friends. Just Between Friends, a lifetime in the practice of yoga from a mystical Christian perspective. This is just, I'm reading from my manuscript. And it's the back cover descriptive for you. Let me just adjust here a little bit. All right. I know it's not the best looking screen, but it'll work. This book was created from biographical information gathered over a lifetime of yoga practice. You may think this memoir is fiction, but it isn't. I began my yogic journey in the late 1960s at the age of 7. At that time, a wave of Eastern spirituality swept through the Western world. Over the course of more than 53 years, I've studied the science and philosophy of yoga, among other esoteric traditions, and traveled while honing my skills. I've developed an acute sensibility about what yoga is and what it isn't. In recent times, authentic yoga has become a rarefied experience for many practitioners of the craft. I, like many of my readers, have experienced unpleasant or harmful situations while participating in yoga class, or the class turned out to be something that resembled yoga but wasn't. Or you've come up against instructors who weren't properly trained or embody the true intention of yoga. Through these pages, I wish to share my own deeply personal and incredibly spiritual yogic journey. I hope it inspires you to seek classes which resonate with you and your body. I'll offer helpful suggestions on what to look for when searching for a qualified instructor. Along the way, I'll share my insights from both a student and teacher's perspective. We'll delve into the mystical attributes of yoga and discuss topics not often communicated. At the end is a gentle 60-minute yoga class outline with notations to each pose, an effective relaxation technique. Both include detailed information you may not have heard before in a typical yoga class. Again, my dedications are private, and you'll have to wait till the book is published in order to read those, but we'll start with just a page or two. Chapter 1, The Journey Begins. I was born on a cold and snowy winter's day in the middle of November in 1963. I took my first breath at Wesson Memorial Women's Hospital in Western Massachusetts in the city of Springfield. It was 6 days before President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. Though small, I was healthy with olive skin and curly black hair. Within a few months, my skin tone lightened and my dark hair was replaced with light blonde. In 1965, I was 2 years old when my family moved into a neighborhood called Forest Park. It's the same area where the author of The Cat in the Hat grew up. Dr. Seuss wrote his first book while living in Springfield titled, And to Think I Saw It on Mulberry Street. Coincidentally, his father ran the Forest Park Zoo and was his inspiration for If I Ran the Zoo. My early childhood days learning how to read were jam-packed with his wonderfully comical, outrageously colorful, and poetic books. Washington Road was one street over from the 735-acre park's entrance. Forest Park is one of the largest municipal parks in the United States. I spent endless hours there wandering its trails. It overlooks the Connecticut River and encompassed a zoo, an amphitheater, aquatic and floral gardens, wooded trails, and horseback riding. It was also home to America's first municipal swimming pool. In winter, the park would come aglow with millions of Christmas lights and twinkling displays. Cold weather activities included indoor and outdoor ice skating, sledding, cross-country skiing, and blazing bonfires with hot cocoa. The rest of the year was filled with hiking, biking, concerts, parades, fireworks, pumpkin patches, and ice cream. We'd race to our piggy banks every time we heard the familiar tune, Pop Goes the Weasel, as it told from the ice cream truck. Our neighborhood was beautiful, picturesque. It was lushly lined with giant oak and maple trees. In their branches ran chattering squirrels. Songbirds filled the air with their chirping, waking me with the sun every morning. Fine, bright green lawns saturated the street with broad sidewalks, which were often filled with kids on roller skates, bicycles, pogo sticks, or playing hopscotch, hula hoop, or Chinese jump rope. Children of all ages played without fear from sunup to sundown. Built in 1895, the house we called our home was a three-story colonial. My father picked it up at auction on the GI Bill for $15,000 because it was abandoned and soon to be condemned. There were 7 bedrooms, 2 living rooms, a kitchen and dining room, playroom, oak mantled fireplaces, a butler's pantry, a finished basement with a bar, hardwood floors, sliding pocket doors, and a baby grand piano in the piano room. The front of the house had 2 large brick pedestals where stone lions once sat and guarded the house. The home had character, with good bones and space for a growing family. The oversized lot came with a 3-carriage barn with loft, and the yard was filled with lilac and forsythia bushes. Fortunately, my father was an electrician and handyman. Mother was hardworking and had a creative flair. Together, they renovated the hovel into a historic home. We lived there for almost 9 years. They were blissful ones, and my childhood is populated with thousands of happy memories of those days. From age 3 to 7, I grew slowly. I was extremely shy, sensitive, observant, and withdrawn. I stuttered and had difficulty with pronunciation of words and endured biweekly sessions with a speech therapist. I loved to paint and draw, practice my cursive or French, and played the violin, although not very well. Elementary school was unusual in that several grade levels all learned together. It was a pilot program designed to combine multiple ages as a type of enhancement for all. I was especially drawn to the newly introduced curriculum called Project Adventure, an alternative learning program where the curricula was taught outdoors. It was inspiring and fun to learn my lessons while sitting under the canopy of thousands of leafy trees in the forested park. During the school year of 1969 through 1970, I was 6, going on 7 years old. In September, I was crossing a street in front of a school where a car struck me. An older neighborhood girlfriend was with me, but the driver failed to see my diminutive frame. I wasn't tall enough to be seen because my head didn't yet reach past the top of the hood. I was only one step behind my friend Lori Coker, just as I was about to step onto the curb. The driver passed the car in front of him on the right and hit me. White light, a brilliant flash of blinding white light is all I can recall from that moment when the automobile slammed into my tiny body. When I awoke, a huge crowd of adults encircled me, all shouting at once, "What's your name? Where do you live? What's your phone number? Where's your mom?" I panicked and I was in pain. My new eyeglasses were shattered and Lori was gone. I began to sob hysterically because I knew I wasn't supposed to leave the house that day. My mother had left strict instructions with my grandmother that I wasn't allowed to go anywhere. However, Nani gave me permission to go to the store with Lori as my chaperone. Due to the traffic jam which occurred because of me, a police officer stepped in to bring me to the nearest hospital. He gently picked me up in his arms and spoke sweetly as he carried me to the police car. Cradling me, he placed me in what looked like a cage with no handles on the doors. He made an unintentional mistake by placing me in the back seat instead of the front. When he turned on both the lights and sirens, I started having a panic attack, quickly becoming an asthma fit. In my 7-year-old mind, I thought he was taking me to jail because I disobeyed my mother. I was so hysterical. He kept shouting over his shoulder from the driver's seat, "Little girl, Linda, you're not in trouble. I'm taking you to the hospital. Please calm down, Linda." I didn't believe him and continued sobbing uncontrollably. He stopped at my house, only 2 city blocks away, on our ride to Wesson Memorial Hospital. He pulled up to my home briefly in an attempt to calm me and to find my guardian. From the front door, Nani cried and shouted, "Mamma mia, Madonna mia, mia, Gesù Cristo." She was Italian and Greek. That's how I learned a bit of Italian and Greek from my grandmother. My great grandmother was a flamenco dancer and spoke both Spanish and Italian. Unfortunately, she died before I started kindergarten at the age of 4. We'll stop there for now. I hope that you'll look forward into what happens next. Be prepared because my autobiography, as I said, a lot of people think it may be fiction. But spiritual warfare is a very real thing. And all of my books are based on the Christian faith and what I have experienced or have read about and studied about. But my autobiography is my own experiences, as weird as they are, as unbelievable as they are, all of them are true. I base much of my autobiography in historical fact, so some of what you hear may sound very familiar, but I hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to reading to you in the next day or two. Thank you so much for being with me today, and please make sure to go on my FundMe page under support a disabled woman to, you've seen it before. I don't need to keep repeating it. So thank you so much and have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.